All right, so for anyone out there who's put in the hours, really honed their trading skills, specifically, in the Forex markets, there's this idea that's super appealing. It's about leveraging that skill, that edge you've developed without having to put up all your own capital.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dream, right? To trade with serious money without the fear of wiping out your own account.
Exactly. And that's where prop firms come into play, right? These proprietary trading firms, they offer a sort of shortcut, a potential fast track to trading with, significant capital and keeping a good chunk of the profits you generate.
It's a model that really speaks to a trader's confidence in their own abilities, I think. Like, why limit yourself to your own account size when there's a chance to manage way more,
Absolutely. And the landscape of prop firms is pretty diverse. There are a lot of players out there, each with their own spin on this fundamental concept.
For sure. And that's why we're here today. It's time for another deep dive.
Today, we're focusing on a firm called Hoorah Trade. They're relatively new to the scene, but they've definitely grabbed our attention.
Newer firm, interesting to see what they bring to the table.
Exactly. We dug into a comprehensive review to see what they're all about, really get under the hood. And our goal today is to give you a clear picture of Hoorah Trade's offerings, what their strengths are, where the potential downsides might be, and ultimately, whether they might be a good fit for your specific trading goals.
Yeah, we want to go beyond just the surface level stuff, right? Like, what does their funding process actually look like in practice? What are the real costs involved?
You got it. And who might find Hoorah Trade to be a genuinely good opportunity? So let's start with the basics. What is it that Hoorah Trade actually offers? Someone like you who's looking to trade Forex but wants more firepower than their own account might allow.
Well, at its core, Hoorah Trade gives you a path to funded trading accounts. They're basically the capital provider. You get to trade using their money.
Yeah.
The main way to get funded is by passing an evaluation. It's about proving you can consistently make profits and manage your risk, show them you've got what it takes.
Makes sense.
But they also understand that some traders are ready to go right now, so they offer an instant funding option too.
Ah, so you can choose your own adventure, huh? Either prove your skills through their challenge or pay a fee to jump right in. And the reward at the end, in both cases, is the opportunity to trade with significantly larger sums of money.
Exactly. And the review we looked at, it emphasizes the potential upside once you're trading their capital. They talk about flexible trading rules, which is interesting. It suggests a less restrictive environment than what you might find with some of the bigger, more established firms. And maybe the most attractive thing, the thing that really stands out is their profit split. It's 80% in favor of the trader.
80%.
Yeah.
That's pretty generous.
In a market where 50% to 70% splits are the norm, 80% is a really strong offer. It definitely suggests they're trying to attract some serious trading talent.
For sure. I mean, that's a huge incentive. But, it makes you wonder if there are any trade-offs, right?
Right.
Are there any hidden catches in their rules or in the level of support they provide? It's something to think about.
Definitely worth considering, yeah.
Okay, so let's dig into that first path to funding, the three-step challenge. What does this evaluation process actually look like? How do you prove your trading skills to them?
Well, the three-step challenge is how Hoorah Trade assesses your ability to generate consistent profits while effectively managing your risk. It's not just about one good trade. It's about showing you can do it over time.
Right. So they give you specific profit targets, and you have to hit those targets while staying within certain risk limits, right?
Right. You've got profit targets to hit, but you also have to stay within specific loss limits, both daily and overall. It's about finding that balance between, going for those profits and protecting your capital.
It's that classic balance, the risk-reward thing that's at the heart of trading.
Exactly.
Now, they offer two different versions of this challenge, right? A classic account and a competitive account. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so with the classic account, you've got a 5% profit target, a 5% daily loss limit, and a 5% trailing drawdown. The competitive account ups the profit target to 6%.
Okay.
But it tightens those risk controls. So you have a 4% daily loss limit and a 4% trailing drawdown. So it's do you want a lower bar to clear with a bit more breathing room day to day?
Right.
Or do you want to aim higher and have tighter restrictions on your potential losses?
So it comes down to your trading style, right?
Yeah.
How aggressive you are, your risk tolerance.
Exactly. It's about knowing yourself as a trader and choosing the path that aligns with your strengths and your comfort level.
Okay, so beyond these targets and limits, What else is there to know about the three-step challenge? What stood out to you from the review?
The flexibility is pretty remarkable. They require a minimum of 5 trading days to complete the challenge, but there's no maximum time limit.
Oh, no time limit. That's pretty unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not something you see with every prop firm. Some firms have very strict time limits, which can add a lot of pressure. But with Hoorah Trade, you can take your time. You know, if you need a few weeks, a couple of months, whatever, you can take it. This is great for traders who have other commitments or who just prefer a more, a more measured approach. And once you pass the challenge and get funded, there is no weekly fee on the funded account itself.
That's huge. No time pressure and no weekly fees once you're funded. That's very appealing. But of course, the challenge isn't entirely free, right? There are fees involved up front.
Right. They operate on a weekly fee structure for the challenge phase. It starts at $16.99 per week.
Okay, so not a bad starting point, but it's weekly, so it can add up, especially if you take longer to pass.
Yeah, and it's important to note that the fee goes up based on the account size you're aiming for. So a $10,000 account challenge, that's the $16.99 per writ. But if you want a $50,000 account, it's $19.99 per week. And then for a $100,000 account challenge, it jumps to $129.99 per week.
Wow, that's a significant jump.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about going for those larger accounts through the challenge, you definitely have to factor that recurring cost into your decision.
For sure. So, affordable entry point, but those costs can escalate depending on the account size and how long it takes you to pass.
Yeah, it's a trade-off you have to consider, especially if you're someone who might need more time.
Right. Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about the instant funding option. For those who are confident and ready to trade with real money right away, what's the deal with instant funding?
So instant funding is specifically for experienced traders who are, ready to dive in with capital right now. Instead of going through the evaluation, you just pay a one-time fee and you get direct access to a funded account.
I see. So what kind of account sizes are we talking about with instant funding, and what are the fees like?
They've got 2 main instant funding plans. You can get a $5,000 account for a one-time fee of $229.99.
Right.
Or you can go for a $50,000 account, but the fee for that one is $749.99.
Right, so significantly more upfront compared to the challenge fees, but you're basically buying your way into immediate trading with their capital.
Exactly. You're bypassing the evaluation and getting right to it.
Got it. So for these instant funding accounts, what are the rules like? What kind of risk parameters are we looking at?
Well, the good news is the profit split is still 80%.
Okay, that's consistent.
Yeah. But the risk parameters are different from the challenge accounts. With instant funding, you have a daily loss limit of 10% and a maximum trailing drawdown of 10% as well.
Okay, so a bit more leeway there.
Yeah, and there are no minimum trading days required. You can start trading as soon as you're funded.
So instant access, higher risk limits, same great profit split. Now, once you're funded, either through the challenge or instant funding, what are the opportunities for scaling up? Can you grow your account balance and trade with even more capital?
Absolutely. They have what they call a scaling plan. It lets successful traders gradually increase the amount of capital they manage without putting up more of their own money. The review mentions that you can potentially scale up to $1 million in trading capital.
$1 million. That's quite a goal.
Yeah, it's pretty ambitious. But it's important to understand how it works.
So how does this scaling process actually play out? What do you have to do to reach those higher levels?
It's a step-by-step process. They have a step-by-step growth path that takes you from an initial $10,000 funded account up to $50,000.
Okay.
And then they have an elite scaling path for those who start with a larger $100,000 account, and that's the path that can lead to that $1 million mark. The key thing is they emphasize that the scaling is risk-free, meaning you don't have to put up more of your own money.
But risk-free doesn't mean there's no risk of losing money while you're trading, right?
Right. It means they're not asking for more of your capital to scale up, but your performance, your trading, is going to be under a lot of scrutiny. They'll be watching closely to see if you can consistently generate profits within their guidelines.
Right, so consistent profitability is the key.
Exactly. You have to show them you can handle bigger and bigger accounts.
Okay, so you're funded, you're working on scaling up, and Hoorah Trade offers some optional extras, some customization features and add-ons. What are those all about?
Yeah, these are interesting. They offer a few things for an extra fee. There's the Profit Accelerator.
Okay, what does that do?
It lets you lower your profit target in the challenge by 1%. So it makes it a bit easier to pass, but it costs $39.99, so one-time fee.
Got it.
Then they have the risk manager. That one lets you increase your daily loss limit by 1%, so a bit more breathing room there. That one is also a one-time fee of $39.99.
I see. So you can tweak the challenge parameters to fit your style a bit more.
Right. And then they have an analyst package if you want external market analysis. That's a weekly fee of $4.99.
Okay.
And then lastly, they have a risk-free scaling add-on. This one has a one-time fee between $99.99 and $199.99, and it basically lets you skip ahead to a $25,000 or $50,000 account after you pass the initial challenge.
Interesting. So you can pay to accelerate your progress if you're confident.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual trading. What can you trade with Hoorah Trade, and what platform do they use?
Well, they have a really wide range of assets you can trade. The review mentions Forex pairs, FX, commodities like gold, oil, and silver, major global indices like the Nasdaq Q, S&P 500, and Dow Jones, popular cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and even individual stocks of big companies like Apple, Tesla, and Microsoft.
Wow, so pretty much everything. That's impressive.
Yeah, they cover a lot of ground.
And what about the platform? What do they use for trading?
They use CTrader.
CTrader.
Yeah. It's a pretty popular platform. It's known for its advanced charting, its order execution speed, and its analytics tools. It's available on the web, on desktop, and on mobile, so you can trade pretty much anywhere.
Trade. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. Okay, so we've covered a lot about Hoorah Trade. Let's step back and look at the big picture. What are the main advantages, and what are the potential downsides for traders who might be considering them?
All right, so on the plus side, the challenge fees are affordable, which is great for beginners or anyone who wants to test the waters without a huge upfront investment. The fact that there's no time limit on the challenges is a major advantage. The 80% profit split, that's obviously a big draw. And then they've got that instant funding option for experienced traders who are ready to go, and they offer a really wide selection of assets to trade.
Those are all strong points for sure. What about the downsides? Anything that stands out as a potential concern?
Well, the main thing is they're a newer firm. They haven't been around as long as some of the bigger names like FTMO or my Forex funds, so there's less of a track record to go on. And then the other thing is they only support CTrader right now. So if you're used to MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5, that might be a drawback.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider if you have a strong platform preference.
For sure.
So based on all of this, who do you think Hoorah Trade would be a good fit for?
Well, I think they'd be good for beginners who are looking for a low-cost way to get into the prop firm world. Experienced traders who are looking to scale up their capital might like them too. And traders who value flexibility, the fact that there's no time limit on the challenges, that could be a big selling point.
Right. And those who just want to dive in head first with instant funding, they've got that option too.
Exactly.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier that there's a coupon code available.
Yeah, their review mentioned that they offer an exclusive coupon code for discounts on their challenge fees.
Always good to save some money.
Absolutely.
All right, so wrapping things up, what's the overall verdict? Is Hoorah Trade a prop firm worth checking out?
You know, I think so. The review concludes that they're a solid option for both new and experienced traders who are looking for funded accounts with flexible terms. That competitive pricing, the risk-free scaling, the 80% profit split, those are all really strong points. But they do recommend starting with a smaller account size just to test the waters, especially since they're a newer firm.
Makes sense. So to sum it all up, Hoorah Trade has two main paths to funding: a 3-step challenge with flexible rules and affordable fees, and instant funding for those who are ready to go right now. Both options come with a very attractive 80% profit split and the potential to scale your account over time. They offer a wide variety of assets to trade and use the well-respected CTrader platform. But they are a newer firm, and they only support CTrade right now, so those are things to keep in mind.
Yeah, that's a good summary.
All right, so here's a final thought for our listeners, especially those of you who feel confident in your Forex trading abilities. Think about your trading style, your risk tolerance, your overall goals. Does a prop firm like Hoorah Trade, with their instant funding or their flexible challenge structure, align with your vision of becoming a consistently profitable trader? Are there any other specific aspects, like their scaling plan or their customer support, that you'd want to explore further before making a decision? These are the kinds of questions we encourage you to ask as you continue your trading journey. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.